Wearable Payment Summit. We're just going to be making a start in just a second. If anybody would like a chance to take their seat, that would be great. We're going to start off with Wayne Lung, the CEO of Tappy Technologies, who's organised this event today. And he's going to give us a great presentation and video and set the scene for this morning's event. So over to you, Wayne.
Thank you, Sarah. Let me turn this on. All right. Well, it was great seeing everybody coming this morning. I know it's tough getting here in the morning with all the traffic and everybody all the way in the other side of the main entrance. So, but let me start this, kick this off here. Really like to thank our partners this morning coming to share their insights about this interesting topic. Wearable has always been an interesting topic, but when you combine it with another interesting topic, a new topic with payments, it gets a lot of people even more interested and hyped up about this event. So I'd like to thank everybody and all the speakers. Let's give a round of applause to my speakers. Thank you. Of course, I have to thank you, Sarah, being our moderator today. Yes, I did a quick interview with her previously at Money 2020, and I really thought she would be the perfect person to be our moderator because she's almost been following us for quite some time and trying to understand how this wearable payment can be widely adopted in the future. So she really is the perfect person for this role. Thank you. So our aim is to really gather payment experts. Everybody here today really should understand some certain degree of what digital payment is about. And around the world, actually, this is one of the major global events, to really share the ideas, challenges, and ultimately to advance the wearable payment industry. I hope to be able to inspire and increase around this topic. And I'm sure a lot of people can bring a lot after this, bring back home a lot of ideas. So let me start our first slide here. So we've seen companies and banks trying to create an adoption for wearable payment for the past 5 years, specifically in wearable payments. We've seen companies with like activity trackers like Fitbits and Garmin trying to do wearable payment. Of course, Apple were the first ones, and Google was also the first ones to have their smartwatches to have these type of functionality added onto a full-blown smartwatch. But Tappy had always been working effortlessly to increase mass adoption by getting one of the largest device industry in this ecosystem. And actually, many people have never thought of this device market. And the reason why I'm using device is because we're all pretty much techie here. But it's not really just a device. It's actually the traditional watch industry. It's a timepiece. But I would call this now a device as well because now you can do a lot more than just telling time and making yourself look good with it. So what is this traditional watch industry? What is this all about? This is quite a bold statement. It's a $20 billion industry that IoT couldn't account for. Why would I say couldn't? Well, if you think about it, a lot of these watches were designed by experts of designers trying to make it all nice, and they also only have one capability. I would call it to make it look really nice. It's one unique function that it has. I mean, telling time, you could really use your phone now these days. But I wear a watch because it looks nice on me, and I sometimes take my phone out too. But I also, if I don't have my phone around, and it's just more convenient to look at the time. But that's pretty much all the functions it can provide. So prestigious design is actually the #1 motivator. So as I said, design is all about design, why you want to make a purchase. Although smartwatches has taken off for the past few years, it's been important part of the IoT, and it will not be able to replace this important element to majority of the watch brands out there. A lot of companies like Fossil, Timex, and Movado Group, they had tried to make their traditional timepiece a little bit more relevant to the young teenagers on how to provide these added functions to a traditional timepiece. There has been a lot of awareness about it, but it hasn't taken off yet. I haven't seen it really taken off because not everybody here is wearing a hybrid watch yet. Or actually, most people are probably wearing if they're wearing a watch, they might be already wearing only a smartwatch or no watch at all. Yeah, you're probably just using your phone. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, so here it is. So I'm looking at the differentiation between a traditional timepiece with either a function capability, like we call this the hybrid. As you can see, watches have a lot more variety compared to a traditional activity tracker, like a Fitbit. No matter what a Fitbit or an Apple Watch can do, the design still always looks the same. It's just square, and there's a black screen. There's no emotion in it, really. But it gives you practicality, functions. But always try to remember how big this watch industry is, what that 1 billion unit means is because of all these designs. So they may look very similar to you, but to some people, they all look different. Because and the reason why they can sell so many watches is because of options. They have so many designs. I mean, there's ones with stones, and there's like ones with a chronograph here, 3 hands. They all look different. If you're a fashion-centric type of person, like you would, like, let's say, I don't like to have so many stones, but I like to have a lot of, like, just all black. That's just my style. So I would be able to pick one of those, and because Fitbit, there's only one. I mean, you can change the color of the strap. Okay, fine, I might match my clothing another day, but it's just one style. They could probably have another style, but it will come another year. It takes time for them to make a new model. But watch guys, we make a lot of styles. So I want to talk about what the second most important thing is. The functionality is actually number 2 motivator driving consumer purchase. So why I want to say that is, we like our phones, but not everybody have an option to make it look like to buy the design that they want because there's only 1 or 2 style really. I mean, I'm using an iPhone. I don't have an option. I mean, if you probably agree with me. I mean, it looks nice, but if I were to tailor-made it and to customize it, I can't. I don't have multiple phones I can select from. Whereas maybe Android, you could have different brands, but iPhone is just one. You either take it or you leave it. You have no choice. But why do I still have it? I have no choice, but because of the functions. We love using our phones because of its capability. So function is number 2, I would say, motivator. But if it really looked ugly, imagine if an iPhone really looked ugly, what happens? I'm sure they would still, reduce sales, and you have options to go for another other brand. But, luckily, Apple does a great job in design, and we're stuck with the phone, and because of its function. So if you're an Apple fan, or if you're a Google fan, then you're just most likely going to stick with that OS and follow through in your next phone device. Yeah, I want to talk about smartwatches. So again, smartwatches are packed with all sorts of functionality. And when I started my smartwatch business, I remember I like to try them all. Starting from the Moto Active from Motorola, I thought that was the best smartwatch out there because it was using the Google OS, and it had more than just an activity tracker. It was touch screen, and it even had like an MP3. You could listen to music to it, and it was packed with a lot of really cool function. But I've been using it for like any of the smartwatches that I've tried. I usually use it for 3 months, and then I realized that, oh, maybe I don't need all those functions. So what are the typical functions that people usually like to use on a smartwatches are the notifications and some of the notifications like WhatsApp or text messages, email, phone calls, simple notifications. And of course, the activity tracker. The health tracker functionality has been a great feature for smartwatches. But there's actually a lot more functions in these smartwatches where most people don't use. So when it comes to the functionality I just talked about, these hybrid watches actually have them. I've shown one of the successful timepieces that had packed with these activity tracking functionality, which also has a companion app that connects to your phone to tell you exactly what's going on. Now, it doesn't have a screen. It doesn't have that black screen, and it looks quite normal to me. It looks like a traditional timepiece. So that's not a generated display. It's actually, it has a dial hands and a real dial and a glass on top. So it looks exactly like a traditional timepiece, but it provides you those functions that I just mentioned that it's useful, which is the activity tracker. It tells time, it has to, and it gives you these like steps counter and other functions like how many calories you burn. So these are the typical functions, as I said, that it provides, and also the notification part. So hybrids have actually taken off because of my first reason. It looks nice. You have options of different SKUs, and it's packed with some of the features that you use every day. So hybrid watches have really taken off with brands like Timex, Fossil. They've been really working hard to have a module that can fit into a mass variety of different watch design heads. We've also noticed recent news from Google that they have acquired the tech arm of the Fossil, that they, Google's really trying to get into this game also, the device market on the timepiece. Remember what that number was. That was $20 billion business industry, and it's like 1 billion units. Can a Google phone sell 1 billion units? I think not. But why can a watch can? Because it's affordable. I mean, most of these watches we're talking about here is about average $100 US. And all the SKUs and all the design, something that looks nice on you. So it's a huge device market we're talking about here. So let me talk about what other functions that is quite mainstream these days, even on a phone. So smartwatches has features on their watch, but the screen's a little small, so I might not wear it after a few months because I could have that on a screen. I'm more comfortable looking at a bigger screen. And then hybrid watch, it was never meant to be having any displays here. So the only thing you get to see on the hybrid watch is the hands movement, indicating if you have if you're catching up with your steps, or indicating if you have a phone call. But digital payment is actually going mainstream on our lives. If it's not internet shopping, or if it's actually payment in-app in the phone, digital payment has taken off. And I was thinking, digital payment can also be a big part of our lives, not only on a phone. So that's why I've thought of, wearable and payment can really mix together. I personally love gadgets. Like I as from the beginning, I was saying that I wear a smartwatch, and I've bought pretty much all the smartwatch out there, try them on, and I like phones too, so I like change phones often just to try to see what's best for me. But then again, I simply don't think I need them all at the end. I only wear one. You only wear the best one, the one that is more relevant to you, and the one that is that you use every day. So going back at what I've said, if there's a watch that you like that looks nice, and there's a feature that you use every day, that could be it. That could be that watch that you would want to wear most of the time. Of course, if you're more fashion-centric, you probably want to wear different nice watches that might have the same feature. So this became my everyday carry, the EDC. Now, again, a watch that has the capability to provide the need of wearing it every day. And so personally, I only have a few things. I think most men have the same thing. Like you have a physical wallet that has your credit cards in there and some cash, depend on where you live and what part of you're from. Some places still take cash, like Germany. They don't really accept a lot of digital payment. But China, you look funny if you have cash. Like, why do you still carry like bills with you? So it's so extreme. Now the world is becoming more to what I was saying, like China. Okay, it should go all digital. Recently, I saw a news. It was like last week that the state of Philadelphia is actually trying to get a lot of the merchants to not use cash. I think a lot of dirty money is going on there, and people not paying taxes and stuff. So they really want people to really use their credit cards in Philadelphia. But then the senator comes in and says, you know what? This is not fair for a lot of unbanked people because they don't have credit cards. So you're discriminating. We should consider those people as well. So if you think about that deeply, digital payment is obviously inevitable, but you don't want to discriminate. So look at the market where the digital wallet guys can come in and offer these prepaid cards or Walmart, Costco prepaid cards that they can distribute to these unbanked people. Most people, even like in most poverty in the U.S., they still have a phone, right? They still have an Android phone, regardless. So digital payment on a mobile phone is definitely a huge market in the U.S. So I can see that the U.S. market is going up for digital payment. And I've been fortunate to be in this business. Making my own product I can wear that I like. I mean, the design. Okay, I'm not. It's quite simple, I would say. But most importantly is the feature that I can create to do contactless payment. And I'm fortunate to be in that business, so I can actually be the first to experience. Remember, I'm a gadget guy, so this is my ultimate gadget these days that I can show off and pay with my watch and tap on terminals, make people really. Start a conversation or be the icebreaker. But who wants to wear an unbranded watch? Like, who wants to wear a Tappy watch, right? Like, or a simple watch that looks like that. So, I mean, other than Wayne, like I would wear my own, but like, who would buy a watch that has no brand? So the key is this: we have these capability to do mass adoption on a big market, in the watch industry. And if you remember, prestigious design is the #1 motivator for purchase, and then functionality is the #2. So we have these elements, but what are we missing here? We're missing the actual watch partners, the brands that know what they're doing from the beginning to sell watches. They know how to make nice products. They know how to distribute them. They know how to market them. They know how to make them like people who want those products because they actually put a lot of money in marketing. And they have all these designs that they offer to provide into your watch, like all those SKUs. So from the slide I showed you before, there's so many styles. There's got to be one that you might like. So remember that point. So we've seen our watch partners like Timex and Guess selling these payment watches actually in the UK with one of our bank partner, Barclays. And we've seen some movement and understanding what the market is, giving us some feedback on, what do they think about this product, and it's been quite positive for the past year. But later on, I'll let one of my partners, Rob from Barclays, to share about their experience and how their customers are liking the products. So we've seen other activity trackers with payment functionality, but their styles, again, is limited. Watches are the main key that we were missing. So look at all these brands I have here now. Some of the brands that you may not know, but it's because they're probably from the other countries, like in India or from China. But all these accessories, all these brands now has these payment capability. So you look at all the form factors too. Like, okay, you got some really simple silicone bands. You got leather bands. Let me put the pointer. You got these phone cases. You got these bangles. You got watches, hybrid watches. You got activity trackers. You got just a strap alone as a replacement strap, so you could just put on your existing watch. You got some also smartwatch here. So all sorts of these products can have these payment chips in it. So we have created a new standard. I designed this. So if you recall this logo, you're supposed to only have a card there. So it's just I just decided to put a hand there and with a watch. So this can be a new standard. I really hope one day you're going to see some of these logos on the POS terminals. So previously we had to do a lot of pre-provisioning on cards. So I'm getting a little bit more technical here. The issuing bank needs to, when they issue a credit card or a prepaid card, it goes through actually quite a long process of getting the bank to have keys exchange and then doing a perso at a perso bureau to load these PAN, the primary account numbers, into the chip. It's a long process. And why we know this is, like, I'm not exactly from that industry, but I've learned this because I've gone through that stage with a lot of these issuing banks, and it normally takes quite a long time to execute a project. It could take a year. And I found that process could be lengthy and slowing down a lot of our watch partners to roll out their products. So that's why we have came out with something new. So I've designed something called a universal passive provisioning unit, which I've launched. People can come take a look at our booth later on to see what this is all about. But what it is simply a pass-through communication device from the phone to the clip and then to the watch strap, which has the chip built into it. Every watch should come with these. Every payment watch should come with these clips to make a provisioning. So this is why I want to talk about our technology. Is that it's a provisioning unit through a tokenization. And if this is not enough, we've added biometric sensor in it because we know eventually this will come in handy when all the regulations come in place with the secondary authentication. We've added a biometric sensor in it, just like any biometric card that we've seen on the card. And it doesn't look very nice like that. Because a normal watch looks normal, and this doesn't look normal to me because it has a sensor there. So how do we make it more normal or concealed? That's also my job. I have to figure that piece out too, to make it like nicer and concealed and not obvious. So my presentation almost ending, but you might seem confused with all those UPPU and all those the biometric sensors. But I've just like a month ago, I put together a really cool video, a TV commercial that will explain it all in just a minute. So I'd like to play that video and share with you guys.
Your wife's birthday, you said. Hey, we're friends, right? Give me a credit card. I've got just the thing. Bro, this little beauty here is perfect for your wife. She's gonna love you for making her life so convenient. What? This watch is powered by Tappy's tokenization technology. It enables you to digitize this card and send it into this watch. This is how it works. Download the Tappy app and register yourself. Capture the image of your card through the app. They'll securely digitize your card. Then you pair the watch and the phone using this clip via Bluetooth. Remove the clip. Now it's ready. You see, you've just enabled this watch in seconds.
Nice. What about security?
No worries. There's a biometric sensor in the strap for authentication. Simply put your finger on the sensor and tap to pay.
Just bought the watch. Wow.
And you can instantly view your transaction record through the app.
Oh my god. Is it a payment watch? I saw it on TV last night.
Thank you very much, everyone. Yep.
Oh, thank you very much, Wayne, for a great start to the thank you. We'll take that off you as well so we can organize everything. Brilliant. Thank you. I do like the idea of buying a watch with a watch. It's kind of appeals, or maybe even better being bought a watch with a watch, but